Hello and welcome to this edition of Let's Talk About It. My guest today is Mr. Broderick Roberson. Broderick, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, you guys know that I like to highlight people that are doing things that I think are extraordinary and also positive role models. Broderick is definitely one of those people. Broderick is a single father who is raising his young daughter who happens to be the age of 14. And Broderick, you've been actually raising her for how long now?
12 years now.
For 12 years. So I have to ask you, what are some of the challenges that you've had to deal with in being a father, a male raising a female child?
Well, one is combing hair.
Okay.
Two is boys. Three, just clothing in general.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, okay. So now, in the process of the boys and the process of the clothing and the process of combing the hair, is there any female around that helps you, maybe a mother or a grandmother to?
Yes, I have family support, my mother, relatives, and close friends to the family.
Okay, okay. Mm-hmm. That sow seeds into...
Exactly. That assists me when I need help.
Yes, yeah. Now tell me this, how did you come about being a single father raising your young daughter?
Well, it started back when she was 2 years old. Her mother was out of state, and she asked me, could I keep her for 2 weeks? And 2 weeks turned into 18 months. Okay. So I went ahead and I started getting some papers together so I can go ahead and try to get custody. And I went to court, and that's how I was able to get my daughter.
Is that right?
Yes, sir.
So 2 weeks turned into 18 months?
Yes.
Really? Wow. So tell me this, was that a shocker for you, or how did your lifestyle have to change after that took place?
It changed significantly because I didn't know that it was going to take that long, but once it happened, I was in for the whole nine.
Right, right. So was that a difficult process for you to get full custody of her?
Yes, it was. Of course, the money, the attorneys, going back and forth to court, and it kind of helped out that she wasn't compliant, so that kind of sped up my case, and I was able to go ahead and get a victory.
Is that right?
Yes.
Wow. So tell me this, how is it rather, for your daughter being raised by her father? What kind of challenges has she faced?
Well, she always say to me that she can't talk to me about girl things, and she says she don't feel comfortable, and I guess as she adolescents or going through the adolescence, talking about personal female things, she doesn't like to talk to me about it. Okay.
Well, I guess that's where the grandmother comes in.
Yes.
Okay. So tell me this, is her mother a part of her life in any kind of way now, or
no,
not?
She isn't. For the last 8 years, she's been out of the picture, and there may have been 2 or 3 occurrences where she saw her within the last 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Maybe 2 or 3.
So she actually doesn't play an active role in her life.
Not at all.
Okay. Okay. You know, I tip my hat to you, number one, for being the man that you are, because so often, especially in certain cultures, we just don't see the men taking their responsibility in raising their child. And I think that you need to be applauded for that, man.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I know a lot of times, you know, I'll hear people say that it's what I'm supposed to do anyway.
True.
Whether the mother was there or not, which is true, but not everybody steps up and stands up to do that. But you have obviously done that.
Yes.
Yeah. So what type of activities do you get her involved in?
Well, my daughter, now she's about 6 feet tall. At 14 years of age.
You got to be kidding.
I'm 6'8", and she's 6 feet tall, so she's playing basketball. She attends Ryan Middle School, where now she's going to Jack Yates Senior High.
Is that right?
Yes.
Jack, wow, man. So just in a few years, you're going to be an empty nester, as they say, right?
An empty nester.
And we'll all say, job well done.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes.
So what do you see in the future for her?
College, of course.
Okay.
She states that she wants to be a forensic science major, so as long as she can get through high school, of course, I'm supporting her all the way.
Absolutely. Tell me this, what are some of the questions that she might ask you as it relates to having a female, being her mom, as to why she might not be there or be around right now? And is she living?
Yes, the mother is living, and she lives within the area of where we live.
Okay.
But there's no interaction on the mother's behalf.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think there's a particular reason why she's chosen not to participate in her life?
Honestly, I really don't know why, but I have a couple ideas what she may feel that since the custody battle, she just decided to just refrain herself from being involved with us.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You know, so often you hear the mothers that take the kids and keep the kids, or either sometimes even keep them from their fathers. Mm-hmm. But it's very rare, or it's unusual rather, that you actually hear of the dad stepping up and taking that responsibility and doing a great job at it, obviously.
Exactly. It's 12 long years, but I'm happy. I'm happy.
Right,
I'm
right.
happy to be in this situation.
So do you keep her involved in a lot of activities to kind of keep her busy, keep her mind going?
I guess she's like the son I never had.
Okay.
So she's involved in a lot of sports and also academics.
Okay, really?
Yes.
Okay. Now, this might be a kind of a, I guess kind of a tough question. Has she ever asked you why mom isn't here?
Of course, I've heard that in the early stages of her growing up, and I just explained to her that, you know, mom is, you know, a lady who's just not ready to be a mother. Okay. And I try to be positive with my daughter and not to say anything negative towards her about her mother. Mm-hmm. And every now and then she asks if I could call the mother, and I have on occasions called the mother. Okay. And the mother refuses to talk to my daughter, and the mother kind of gripes at me and think that I'm trying to start something, but I let my daughter know that it's not me. Right. So whenever she asks me, can I make a phone call, I'll make a phone call to let her know that I'm not preventing her from talking to her mother. That's great. So she understands that it's not me. Right, right. I think that's great, because so often you see like the mothers will put the children against the father, or vice versa. So if you're able to talk to her and let her know, hey, I'm trying to open this line of communication up with you and your mom, but your mom is electing not to participate in this dialogue with you, I think that's very important, because also it helps the child not to be resentful toward you. Exactly. Where she could never say that daddy has kept me from my mother, or you know that, and I think that's very important. And it's also good, and I like the fact that you choose not to be negative toward mom. You choose to remain positive toward mom, especially in the presence of your daughter, regardless to what has transpired between you and mom. So how did you get to that place where you were able to stay positive in that? It took me a time before, you know, when I was younger, of course, I had a lot of anger, but as I matured, I realized that my child is number one, that's most important. Right. And I have to let my feelings and the way I feel, put that aside for my daughter. Absolutely, absolutely. I'm really enjoying this dialogue, and we're going to come back in just a moment with more of Let's Talk About It with my wonderful guest, Mr. Broderick Roberson. All right, welcome back to Let's Talk About It with my guest today, Mr. Broderick Roberson. Broderick, welcome back, needless to say. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for being here. We're talking about single fathers that are raising their children, which I think is a wonderful topic and a wonderful subject to talk about, because we don't always hear about the positive men that are doing these types of things like Broderick is doing. I think it's great, and he certainly needs to be commended for that. Now, we were talking about your daughter, who happens to be six, did you say 6 feet? 6 feet tall at the age of, did you say 13? 14. 14. Now, is that a challenge in itself? Very much so when it comes to shopping. Okay. Yeah. And I have a hard time, and of course she doesn't like my style of choice of clothes for her. And you know, it's, yeah, and to find shoes for her is also a problem. But
Is that right?
yes.
Okay.
So we're working on it.
Yeah. You know what's funny? We just had some dialogue recently with a local store owner, a lady that owns a boutique, and we were talking about the issue of some women right now in this day and age are having a time finding shoes that actually are their size, especially if they were like 11 or 12. It's more of a challenge, and I think the shoe industry as a whole is actually discovering that this is a problem. And they're starting to make some necessary changes so that they can certainly fit those women that may have a larger foot.
Yeah, my daughter needs.
She needs that, huh?
Yeah, she needs it.
Yeah. You know, I'm gonna have to tell you about this particular store,
Okay.
and to see if she might be able to accommodate that in some kind of way. 6 feet tall. Wow. So tell me, is that intimidating for you?
No, I like it.
You like that?
Because the guys in her class are a lot shorter. So
Is that right? I can imagine.
exactly, I like it.
You know? Is your mom tall or your dad tall?
My mom is 5'11" and my father's 6 feet tall.
Okay, but you just blew everybody out the water.
Yeah, I got the height from my uncle. My uncle is 6'4".
Really? Wow. I'm sitting here next to Broderick, and I'm like doing like this here, like just looking up to him. I feel a little intimidated, y'all, but I'm all right. I'm gonna make it. So tell me, so what are some of the other challenges that you have to deal with, especially being a male raising a female child?
Well, coming home every day, working 10-hour shift, picking my daughter up and having to prepare dinner is real challenging. And trying to keep a house clean and chores done is a major challenge.
So do you make sure that she have particular chores on a daily basis type of thing?
Yes, she does.
Okay. Now, as far as you're talking about her hair care needs earlier, how do you handle that? Is that when mom steps in and your mother steps in, her grandmother?
Well, now it's going to the shop.
Okay.
And it's like $200 a pop. You know, she gets.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's a challenge too.
Wow.
It's a financial strain.
And pretty soon it's going to be nails done, the pedicures. It's gonna be...
Yeah, she's knocking on the door with that right now.
Is that right?
Yes.
So just get ready, huh?
Already.
Now, you also have another daughter you were telling me as well, right?
Yes. My oldest daughter is 17. I found out about her 4 years ago.
4 years ago. Now, tell me a little history about your 14-year-old daughter. You said you just found out about her 4 years ago. Tell me more about that.
Well, I didn't know that I had a daughter, and I didn't know. And I received a phone call, and I met with the mother, and I saw my daughter, and she looked just like my 14-year-old.
Wow.
But of course, you know, denial, everybody looks alike, so.
Let's find out for sure.
Exactly, and I went ahead and I got the DNA, and it was my child. So of course, I brought in to the family, and we've been together ever since.
Is that right?
Yes.
Man, that is fantastic. So she actually is in Houston as well?
She lives in Houston, and she's with her mother, and she's a senior in high school.
Okay. So you got one that's just getting started kind of in high school, and then you got one that's actually a senior.
About to get out.
In high school. Well, I'm sure the 13-year-old can learn a lot about, or the 14-year-old rather, can learn a lot from the 17-year-old, right?
Exactly.
So do they have an opportunity to interact with one another?
Yes, they do. Every so often, through holidays and through the summer vacations, she comes over and spends a lot of time with us.
Is that right?
Yes.
Oh, that's fantastic, man. That's fantastic. I'm so excited to have this cat on the show, man. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah. I want to certainly commend you, as I'm sure people who are viewing are thinking the same thing. This is a stand-up kind of guy. And it's so good, again, I'll say, to see a man like Mr. Broderick Roberson who's doing what he's doing for his child. And I know you feel like it's your responsibility regardless.
Exactly.
As a man and as a father, which is a good thing, you know? And I really like the idea that he's not bad-mouthing anybody. He's simply taking the responsibility and working with what he has to work with. And I think that's a tremendous blessing. A tremendous blessing. I have enjoyed this dialogue so much with Mr. Broderick Roberson. Mr. Broderick Roberson, thank you so much for being here, sharing your story, and giving a little insight into your life. You have certainly been a for a positive, male on the show, which is great, and a wonderful role model. So I'm so glad you came out today to share your time.
All right, thank you again.
All righty, absolutely. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
And until next time, we'll see you. And also, for information on Let's Talk About It, you can reach us at letstalkaboutit12tv@gmail.com. That's Let's Talk About It 12tv@gmail.com. Until next time, we'll see you then.